My name's Alex. I am, I think, the last thing between you and the bar, so I'm going to move pretty quick. I'm going to do basically three things together today. There's 4 bullets here, but it's really 3 things. One, I'm going to give you an introduction to Amazon CloudFront. I'll give you a little history, how we got into this business. I'm then going to kind of structure the presentation around needs and examples of challenges that we've seen media and entertainment customers face with AWS and CloudFront. And then we'll wrap up a little bit with any questions or how to get started. So really just sort of 3 things. CloudFront in a nutshell. Let me actually start by explaining how we got into the content delivery business. I joined the company in 2007, and we saw a very interesting thing. We saw a lot of customers using Amazon S3 to deliver content. And we said, that's interesting. Amazon S3 is really designed as a storage service. It's right there in the name, simple storage service. And yet we saw customers using it as a CDN to deliver popular content around the world. So we said, there must be a latent demand out there for a CDN that has AWS's sort of core principles. It would be reliable, it would be performant, it would be scalable, it would be cost-effective, pay-as-you-go. All those things that Amazon typically brings to a new web service when we build it, there must be a latent need for that out there in the market for a CDN. So that's how we got started with CloudFront. I've been involved with the service since it wasn't too much more than those set of ideas, and have built it over the past 4 years or so. So in a nutshell, what is CloudFront? Well, CloudFront is a way of delivering content, media to your customers with low latency, with high data transfer speeds, high bandwidth, providing redundancy, basically making sure your content is always available no matter what. Scaling, as your users grow, it scales along with you. Giving you global reach to markets throughout the world, and giving you a cost-effective way of delivering your content. Some key features for media and entertainment customers. We have a couple of different ways to deliver content. We started out just doing HTTP delivery. We now also deliver content over RTMP for Flash clients. You can do live video. You can do video on demand. We have capacity to do adaptive bitrate streaming. There are options to encrypt the bytes on the wire, whether it's with HTTPS or RTMP-E. We have a feature that we'll talk about a little later on that we call private content, but basically it's a way of authenticating end users' access to your content. We have access logs to give you information for reporting and analytics. We have a management console. And everything you can do with CloudFront, you can do with our APIs, so it can all be integrated into your workflow or your systems. We are a global service, so we have 11 locations here in the United States. We have, 6 now in Europe and 3 in Asia. Just the other week, we launched a pop down in South America, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, so we're really excited about that. We tend to iterate a lot. We don't try to come out with a service that has all the bells and whistles day one. We put out a service that does basically what we think is a basic use case, does it really well, does it really reliably. So we started out in Q4 of 2008 with a service at HTTP delivery. And then we listened hard to what our customers said, and we iterated on features and added some of the bells and whistles. And added things like access logging or RTMP streaming or private content or live streaming. We added an SLA, all the while cutting our prices 3-4 times along the way. So this is how I'm going to structure the rest of the talk. When I see media and entertainment customers come to us in terms of what they expect out of a CDN, really it boils down to these 8 things. The first thing that they expect is great performance. We are, in a lot of ways, selling performance with CloudFront. You want fast delivery of your content. Reliability comes hand in hand with media and entertainment, comes hand in hand with just about any use case, but you expect that from CDN. Scalability, the ability to adjust to an unpredictable amount of traffic. Particularly with videos, you don't often know how many people are going to watch your video. You want to make sure your CDN is ready for that. Control for secure content delivery. If you're running a video rental, for example, or even selling tracks audio that you download, you want to make sure you have control about who's able to download your content or streaming content. We talked a little bit about HD bandwidth earlier today, but that's certainly a need that we see with CloudFront. Reporting and analytics is important. All needs to be easy to configure, and it all needs to be cost effective. So what I'm going to do for the rest of the talk here is quickly go through each one of these needs, describe how we approach the problem, and then talk a little bit about a customer who has faced it and used CloudFront to solve it. So let's talk about performance. And I start this slide by saying Amazon is a metrics-driven company. This is really how we run almost every business that we get into. We say, what are the metrics that matter most to the customer? And that's an important that matter most to the customer. Because there are a lot of metrics you could measure. At the end of the day, what matters is what your customers care about. So for CDN, it means something very specific. It means to-the-glass latency, how long it takes a piece of content to get loaded onto the user's browser, onto their mobile device, however it is they're consuming that piece of content. That's the metric that matters. So we've structured all of our measurement around measuring last mile or to-the-glass latency data, which can be a little bit different than some of the other measurement approaches that people have used. Some companies will do measurements from data center to data center. Turns out not a lot of my customers live in data centers. So what we tend to focus on is this last mile measure. And we benchmark ourselves against other options that customers have for delivering content. So this is, we compare ourselves to all the other options that I'm sure you folks have. We usually turn out pretty well. So this is an example. This is the download time it takes to the last mile of a large object test, so a 4 megabyte MP3 file is actually what this is, that is downloaded using a third party's network of last mile clients. And you can see in this case we were the best of the 4 networks we were using. We do some variations of this. We test geographically. We're not always first. There's some variability into this. So in this particular test, which ran from the 17th of September to the 1st of October, we actually ended up second in Europe for this particular large object test. We also test small objects as well. So this is the North American test for small objects where we did come out first. The thing to take away is that CloudFront is consistently in the among the best or the best options that folks have out there. So we're very proud of the performance that we've put in. And one of the customers that uses CloudFront for performance reasons is IMDB. They use it for both video delivery and delivery of some of their search results, actually. And what they said is that we have to win. IMDB is an Amazon company, but we have to actually win them as a customer just like we would as an external vendor. So this is what they said. They said CloudFront makes this experience the fastest possible by distributing our content physically close to our worldwide user base. This is why they came to CloudFront. We heard from John earlier. That's the example I'm going to use here. But one of the things we hear customers ask for is reliable delivery to a wide variety of devices. We take a pretty agnostic approach to which of these many technologies that are out there will eventually dominate. We don't really care. We're trying to support them all. So we have options to do RTMP streaming. We have options to do HTTP streaming for iOS devices. We have some customers doing Microsoft Silverlight delivery with us. We do live and on-demand. One of the things I'm really proud about is how we did live streaming. You can actually take full control over a Adobe FMS instance and configure it however you want. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of power for your live streaming event. Everything we do is backed by our SLA. So I won't go into this because you heard it from John earlier, but reliability to a wide variety of devices is one of the things PBS came to us for. Scalability is another important thing that customers need out of a CDN, and something we've put a lot of time and effort in with CloudFront. Scalability matters to Amazon as a whole. We don't tend to do things that don't scale well. Part of this is our self-service business model is a great fit for that, so customers can come to us, sign up for our service. When they expect a spike, there's not a whole lot of phone calls or negotiations that need to go on before you have access to scalable content. We also give everybody access to our full network of edge locations. So from me showing my home movies to my mother in New York to a large company. Everybody gets access to all of our locations. And so here's an example. This is a customer who was doing video banner ads in support of a TV premiere. And we started getting a trickle of content coming out of our network early in the morning. But it was kind of coming and going. Honestly, it didn't even hit our radar. But you see right at 2 p.m., they flipped through a switch or did something on their end that drove 60 gigabits per second of traffic to us. Settled down for a while. Then at 4 p.m., through another switch or something else happened that pushed them back up to around 30 or 40 gigabits per second. By 7 p.m., they were gone. The TV program had run. A couple of interesting things about this. You'll see with all the other examples here today, I actually will put the customer name up. I only do that when I've talked to a customer and I know they're comfortable with me doing that. Either they've done a case study or we had a conversation about this presentation. This customer has been totally satisfied with the self-service business. I've called him once or twice. He's never called me back, and that's just fine. That's totally all right with us. The other thing that's important here is that the customer only paid for the area under the curve. So this is all pay for what you use pricing. So they can scale up to reach these very large spikes and then have no commitment for further usage beyond that. Another need we see customers have is control for secure content delivery. We have a feature that we call private content that allows you to authenticate who's able to access your content. You create a policy that describes the circumstances under which it's okay for a video to be served or an object to be delivered. That policy can restrict based on the name of the video or a path. You can set an expiration time. You can even restrict based on the IP address of the client making the request. You sign that using asymmetric encryption, so you have a private key and we have the public counterpart. When we get the request, we'll decrypt it and only serve the request if the signature is valid. For bytes on the wire, I mentioned this earlier, we have options for both SSL and RTMP-E. We also have the ability to put something in Amazon S3 so CloudFront can get to it and no one else can. That's called an origin access identity. And then finally, on the management on the management plane, we work with Amazon Web Services Identity and Access Management, the IAM feature, to make sure that only folks that you have said is okay to configure CloudFront distributions can do so. Example of a customer doing this, a company called Mediafly. What they're doing is rough cuts, pre-production stuff, dailies, a bunch of things before it's finished video, trying to deliver that using CloudFront, stuff you wouldn't want anyone to be able to access. So this is what they've said about CloudFront. It was something that they thought they didn't take it lightly, and they really liked the advanced security features while handling the spikes for their traffic. This is just fun. This is a HD video that a customer called Bethesda Studios did. They're putting out a, actually didn't take on this live demo. They are putting out a new video game, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, on the 11th of November. And they're using CloudFront to deliver HD game trailers of what's coming. So what they said, with gamers counting down the hours to 11/11/11, Amazon CloudFront helped us share the official trailer for Skyrim with millions of Elder Scrolls fans. So great example of customers using CloudFront to deliver HD high bitrate content. Reporting and analytics, a couple folks today, a couple of the speakers have talked about Elastic MapReduce. We put out access logs. We actually have a log analyzer package for MapReduce that will let you generate usage reports about the activity going on with CloudFront. So you can look at object popularity or traffic volume, stuff like that. But we also put out everything we do as a standard W3C formatted log file. So it's very easy to put this into your favorite log analysis tool, whatever that might be. So one of the companies here today Vidly uses our log files to understand specifically how their customers are using CloudFront. Easy to configure, easy to manage. A couple of options here. The AWS Management Console is a great user-friendly way to configure CloudFront. But we also have programmatic APIs, so sort of what Deepak was talking about on the EC2 side is equally true here for CloudFront. You can integrate this into your own workflow and into your own systems to make changes to your content or your distributions. Fotopedia is an example who actually they were able to get out just days after we'd launched CloudFront back in 2008. At that point, all we had was the API, so they were able to integrate this into their systems. Last point. There are a lot of customers out there who want a lot of things. We've never yet met one who wants to pay more for their CDN or just about anything. So we really focus on making this a low-cost solution. We've cut prices 4 times in the last 3 years. We have an option to, our standard pricing is pay-as-you-go. There's no commitments. All the rates are tiered, so as you deliver more volume, your rates will go down. And we have options, just like an EC2 reserved instance. We have options if you're willing to make a reservation with us to get even further discounts on top of that. And here's an example. Actually, probably would have used the PBS one if I'd had that quote earlier, because I think it's even more to this. But we have plenty of customers come to us and say we're saving money using CloudFront. So that's it. I was going to keep it quick to get everybody for drinks. If you need anything else, I'll be in the back. Happy to take questions there. You can learn more about how to get started on our website. I think that's about it. So, Reed, do you want to take it away?
Great. Thanks, Alex. Great talk.